I can definitely assure you that that nothing malicious happened on TikTok.
So the Supreme Council for National Defense announced here in Romania last week that there have been cyber attacks to influence the electoral process, right? Also that TikTok favored Călin Georgescu by violating electoral legislation. So I want also your opinion on this.
Right. So let's maybe go back to the basics, right, and to the very beginning of the story. We set all our internal processes for making elections safe in Romania weeks ahead of the elections, right? So let me maybe tell you, how our elections work, and in general, what have we done. So in October, for example, we hosted Romanian minister at our Trust and Accountability Center in Dublin to present exactly what actions are being taken in order to keep both the community and the users safe in Romania, and also the elections process safe in Romania. We proactively organized election dedicated meetings with ANCOM, with Permanent Electoral Authority, and the Ministry of Research and Innovation and Digitalization. We organized an on-site session with the Ministry of Research Innovation, ANCOM, the DNSC, sorry if I hope I pronounce it well, and law enforcement on disrupting covert influence operations. We've done our best, so every local governmental bodies or law enforcement are aware of tools that we have in order to report, for example, any wrongdoings on the platform, or any things that should be reported on the platform, and we allow this to them. We responded through on every request. So every request that has been sent to us by any of the authorities has been responded up to date, and also usually it has been responded within 24 hours. Now, if we are talking about covert influence operations, so the influence operations that happen on TikTok, we also disclosed it. We also shared it with relevant authorities in Romania. Yesterday, during the meeting at IMCO committee at the European Commission, we've also shared those findings. And you can be sure that we are investigating as we speak. And what we found so far were actually only 3 such covert influence operations on our platform, where with a very limited scale of those operations, because one in November, that was only 12 accounts banned, then the second one was 78 accounts banned, and then the one that was for recidivism, which means that that it was repeatedly violating our community guidelines, it was 11 accounts, and most of those were coming from Romania. So those were influence operations campaigns that were coming from inside the country, no foreign state interference.
But you've discussed about the electoral campaign?
Well, I believe during that, because the meeting is a couple of hours. The visit is a couple of hours meeting, right? So first, we introduce our guests to how the content moderation works. We go through separate rooms to present, how actually it looks on the daily basis. We present where the data is being stored, right? There are different teams on different parts of that meeting where you can ask questions. And Minister had a lot of questions, very good, valid questions in terms of how our content moderation processes work. And I believe, there might have been questions regarding the elections, and we were focused on measures and preparations and how we work with local authorities. Minister had feedback for us in terms of who should we work with and who should we reach out to, and that's what we follow through later on.
But despite these meetings you told us earlier, we have a decision coming from the Supreme Council for National Defense, and they say that TikTok favored Călin Georgescu before the first round of elections.
Well, and this is not true. This is false. all candidates on TikTok are treated equally. We take exactly the same measures towards every candidate on the platform, right? And all candidates, no matter if independent or are affiliated, are treated in TikTok's policies in our system as political accounts with the highest possible priority, which among others disable monetization features for them. And this allows us to to treat them equally in the same way. This has, because I understand that that in Romania there was this question whether because candidates have this obligation to put this marketing number in their marketing campaigns, right? And this is different because we have a labeling system internally on TikTok that allows us to identify political accounts and then force community guidelines towards those, seeing that that there is no disinformation there, that there is no paid advertisement or paid content there, right? But there was this confusion because there's also this number that has to be given to those videos, and this is completely different, right? And this is an obligation that relies on the candidates, right? So on the politicians. So whenever politician is advertising in every social media, not just TikTok, they need to put this number on those materials. And this is not obligation on the platforms, it's an obligation on the candidates. So that's maybe why there was this confusion as well.
We have also a journalist investigation from context.ro. They have used the Osavul software, which analyzes trends on social networks, and they have discovered a number of Russia-related accounts that constantly promoted Călin Georgescu. So those accounts have hundreds of thousands of followers and obvious pro-Russian, anti-Western, and conspiracy sympathies. Can you follow the money? Can you tell us if they lead to Russia?
There were internal organized influence operations on the platform. If we are talking about any form of Russian influence on the platform on TikTok, then we found 11 accounts for recidivism, and it was affiliated with Sputnik Media, which have targeted Romanian and Moldovan audiences following our one of the largest scale takedown of Sputnik Media accounts back in September 2024, and those have now been banned for violation of our policy against cover influence operations. So by this day, this is probably the only thing that we've seen so far, and this was targeted operations for the whole Europe, focused on Romania and Moldova.